Yeah. Anyway, Scott, let's move on to a topic that I know I wanted to speak about. And of course, that is this whole thing with VAR. It's been all over Sky Sports, it's been all over TNT. Talk Sport have even spoken about it on the radio multiple days. Most big BBC radio have as well. Gary Lineker is loving Wolves at the moment as well. He tweets every game about us, and these podcasts, The Rest is Football, all they do at the moment is talk about our VAR problems. 7 points we've lost from the first 14 games. We should be sitting on 22 points minimum, by the way. That's 7 points minimum. Yeah. Because if you count the Man United one, where we should have had a penalty and it would have been 1-1, who's to say we wouldn't have gone on to win that? So 7 minimum. We should be in a position where we're 4 points off the Champions League. It's just a disgrace, isn't it?
I think it's one of them as well. And the more I sit on this, I've gone from thinking it's an absolute ridiculous comment to a very valid one. Just the fact that football in general, there's so much money behind it now, so much investment coming from different places of the world. Of course, everyone's got a vested interest. Bigger clubs are finding it harder to compete because these huge, even our owners are technically, they're billionaire owners and they can invest a lot of money into the club. So
Aston Villa have got the money now.
Villa have got the money, but even so, you go further and further down. There's more millionaires even in League One now, and you just think with VAR, especially being in the top division, it just feels like a control tool to me. To help at times these bigger clubs that are finding it more difficult to compete. But at the same time, VAR, and it's one of these things, a 50-50 decision. If it's a Big Six team, guess what? The Big Six are going to get it. And then if it's not, then Wolves, clubs like Wolves, Everton, Forest, etc., are not going to get those decisions.
I think you can just see the lightning behind me.
That so bad. Cool. Yeah. Anyway, that looked cool.
Let's talk about the independent panel. That I can't believe I'm about to say this. This is what just confirms to me that it's just all corrupt. The independent panel after the Fulham game, there were 4 major talking points in the game, and there were 4 major incidents where most people think at least 2 of them should have gone our way, if not more. They said all 4 decisions were correct. Both penalties, the non-sending off, and there was another one. It's gone. But when you've got an independent adjudicator or a jury, a panel, whatever it is, when you come out and say, okay, so we've put this jury in place to hold our hands up retrospectively after the game and say, we've made a mistake, we're going to get better. But when you've made so many mistakes in a game, and then that independent jury comes out and says, nothing wrong with any of those decisions. At that point, you just think, you're on one here, aren't you? Like something is going on in the background. Something dodgy is happening.
Let's be honest. What this independent panel, where really does the loyalty lie? Are you telling me that the loyalty lies with the clubs that are complaining and saying the officiating isn't good enough? Are this independent panel going to want to always come out and go, yeah, we're getting it wrong every week, and not just with Wolves, with other clubs as well? Or really, are they going to want to protect their own? Are they going to want to protect the integrity of the league? And are they, even if they might be independent, I'm sure they've got a very vested interest by sticking by the referees and seeing where the decisions come from. And I think that's the problem, isn't it?
I just think it's an absolute disgrace to get the decisions wrong. Not only, the referee should have got a few right in real time, and then you've got VAR, and then you've got the panel. So 3 different layers of officiating, let's say. How can they all get it wrong? I loved Howard Webb as a referee, but he's getting to the point now where he's got to start thinking of stepping down now. In his 2nd season as the head of the PGMOL? What is he doing?
Let me ask you this question, because I thought it's a good thing that it's been raised over the last couple of weeks, actually, on good old Talk Sport. People have obviously different opinions on them as a channel, but Darren Bent said that, it's about time that ex-players started going in. And he even said himself, look, if they gave me the call to be in the VAR room, I'd do it. And he said, because players know how to play the game. And he used the Fulham one as an example. And, he sort of said he looked at that Tom Kearney one, the one where he sort of went down too easily. And he said, as an ex-player, he said, I know that isn't enough to warrant a penalty.
Exactly. To back your point up, and I go back to Gary Lineker, who's always tweeting about us lately. He even said on his podcast, he said this is a European team we're watching in Wolves. He said they play some good football. He said what we said, that we need to start beating the Lutons and the Sheffield Uniteds of the world. But he said we are watching a team that is a European worthy team. They should be 7th, 8th in the league, which we really should. Don't forget, it's 7 points minimum that we should have had extra. That could have been 9 or 10. And then we're 1 point behind Newcastle. It's just there's too
Okay,
much money
I
in
guess
football.
mathematically I agree. I do think that we're starting lineup, we're not far off. I think we're still a very long way off the course of the season, and we saw that against Arsenal at the weekend. When when you are bringing in, I'd argue the point that if we had Gomez and Lamina, and obviously a fully fit team throughout the full straight, and Neto, of course, in that game, we could have got a result against Arsenal. The problem I have is I don't think we have a strong enough bench and backup players at the moment to warrant competing. And I still think we miss a big number 9 striker. But as you say, the points on the table at the moment do not lie. In VAR, if it had got its job correct, we'd be in a very, very different place, wouldn't we?
So the bottom line is this before we move on. You believe that we wouldn't get into Europe anyway, but VAR's still corrupt. Is that
basically? Yeah, in essence. And every place is worth 2 million, don't forget. Every place is worth 2 million. So people go, what's the difference between finishing 15th, bad example, 16th compared to, I don't know, let's say 8th or 10th, let's say 10th, that could be one extra player brought in, and that one extra player the following season could cause such a big thing.
Well, put it this way. If Everton would have finished, say, 4 or 5 places higher over the last couple of seasons, they wouldn't have been £20 million over FFP. They wouldn't have lost 10 points. That's how big it is.
Yeah.
It's literally that big now.